This is a 7 News First Alert Weather special presentation.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm 7 News First Alert Weather Meteorologist Jordan Evans. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to dive into everything fall here in the DMV, from historic weather events to changes in the season, as well as a look at things to do in our area. Plus, we'll take you outside of the Beltway and around the country with fall stories from our sister stations. The changing of the seasons comes with a change of scenery. Here in the DMV, folks look forward to fall as relief from summertime heat and humidity. Others look forward to the changing of the leaves and vibrant landscapes of fall color. Maybe you're most excited for the pumpkin spice drinks and approaching holidays that bring family and friends together. Going back hundreds of years to the 16th century, the word harvest was typically used to describe the season, as farmers would harvest during the months of fall. As English settlers began moving to the North American colonies, the phrase fall of the leaves became popular. Eventually, by the 1700s, the term fall became most common. Now let's get into the science behind fall and what it means for our planet Earth. You may have heard of the autumnal equinox, and it is the same thing as the fall equinox. Now, the term equinox is Latin for equal night, which refers to the near equal amounts of daylight and darkness. And the planet's equinox is the date and time which the sun crosses that equator due to the Earth tilting away or toward the sun. An equinox happens twice a year, once in late September and again in late March. That one is known as the vernal equinox, which is the calendar start date for spring. Fall doesn't just bring less daylight and darkness, it can also bring extreme weather events. Some of the strongest storms on Earth, such as hurricanes, have occurred during the fall months. Take most recent Hurricane Melissa, for example. The storm devastated part of the island of Jamaica as a strong Category 5 storm and was one of the strongest hurricanes on record to make landfall in the Atlantic Basin. The storm packed sustained winds of 185 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 892 millibars at its landfall on October 28th. Back here in the DMV, some of our most extreme weather events have also occurred during the fall months. Hurricane Sandy in 2012 came ashore in New Jersey, but the so-called Frankenstorm had much wider impacts with damaging winds throughout the D.C. area, along with heavy rain. 32 inches of snow was recorded at Snowshoe Mountain in West Virginia. Meanwhile, high surf took out half of the pier in Ocean City, Maryland. Sandy was responsible for over 250 deaths across 8 countries. Severe weather can also happen during the fall months. In fact, the tornado outbreak of September 24th, 2001 was one of the worst tornado events to have ever affected the D.C. area. A total of 6 tornadoes occurred on that day, with the most deadly twister you see right there, tearing through College Park, Maryland. That tornado was rated an F3 with winds up to 200 miles per hour. It killed 2 students at the University of Maryland and injured over 50 people countywide. Now, what about snow in the fall? It's quite common, actually, in the higher elevations of western Maryland and West Virginia. But here in the D.C. area, one snowstorm still takes the lead in the record books. The Veterans Day snowstorm of 1987 produced a foot of snow at Reagan National Airport and 11 inches at Dulles International. This snowstorm still holds the daily record for the month of November. You can only imagine the landscapes of fall foliage blanketed by heavy snowfall. Fall is known for its drastic changes in the weather. Some weeks start off with temperatures in the 80s before a strong cold front moves through with near freezing temperatures by the end of the week. I like to call this time of the year front season, as the polar jet stream begins to push farther south into the lower 48, allowing weather makers to move through with temperature swings and weather changes. Now, if you've been around long enough in the DMV, have you noticed any changes to our fall season, such as summertime heat lingering into the fall months or a later first freeze? If your answer is yet, you're not wrong. D.C.'s warmest fall on record was 2016, with temperatures running above normals for a majority of the season. And fall 2016 was one of the driest on record, with only 4 inches of rain over the 3 months. Weather records analyzed by Climate Central shows that since 1970, the fall season here in the D.C. area has warmed almost 2 degrees Fahrenheit, which then translates to, on average, about 10 more days with above normal temperatures. Fall warming is most pronounced in the desert Southwest, with Phoenix, Arizona seeing nearly a 6-degree rise in fall temperatures. A warmer fall is also contributing to later freezes in the season. Climate Central's data analyzation shows D.C. is now seeing a later first freeze on average by about 8 days since 1970. This can bring impacts to fall harvesting and the growing season. Even our beautiful fall foliage each year can be delayed, with impacts to local businesses. A warmer fall season means that summertime heat and humidity can lead to a longer demand for air conditioning, a higher risk for wildfires, and those summer allergies lasting longer, all affecting our health and wallets. Speaking of our wallets, it often occurs that utility bills increase during abnormal seasonal weather. Take drought, for example, as this year in 2025, a majority of the D.C. area has been under moderate to severe drought conditions, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. Although major cuts to water supply and shortages have not been reported this year, we have seen them before. River levels decrease, and that can take away a vital source for local agriculture and businesses. Drought.gov says serious drought impacts to water utility operations can range from water pressure and supply to poor water quality and limited access to alternative sources, along with increased customer demand, which can then translate into increased costs on your water bill. So that led me to wonder, were there ongoing impacts to local businesses this year due to current drought? As fall brings out folks to the pumpkin patch, local farms and cideries, is too much drought a good or a bad thing? Does drought affect the taste of the apple you'll pick from the local orchard? I went out to Bluemont Vineyard in Loudoun County to find out. You take the hour-long drive outside of D.C., where the landscape becomes painted by beautiful fall foliage, farms, vineyards, and cabins for weekend getaways. And one property in particular has a little more to offer.
I've been here my whole life, about 25 years.
Jake Zershmead is the chief farming operator at the Bluemont Vineyard. He says the fall season is the farm's busiest time of the year.
Earlier in the fall, in September, definitely apples are a huge thing. And then once we move into October, pumpkins, cider donuts, all things fall.
Like many farms that open their doors to customers for foods they grow, all eyes throughout the year are on Mother Nature and how she'll perform with temperatures and rainfall.
We want a really mild spring. We don't want it to warm up too fast because the temperatures kind of wake the trees up, and then if it cools off, we can have a freeze like we did this year. And then going through the season, this was actually a fairly good year. Typically, once we get towards the end, it's better for it to dry out a little bit just to help the fruit to keep disease off. More moisture can lead to more disease at the end of the season.
And sometimes a little bit of drought can be a good thing for the apples.
It can cause a little bit of a pullback as the trees are getting ready to go dormant, but I feel just kind of those bi-weekly rains have kind of helped us out a little bit this year.
Now, in years past, when the drought has been worse, Jake says there is a noticeable difference in the taste.
So with apples, if it dries out a lot right at the end of the season, the tree can pull energy out of the fruit just to keep itself alive, so you end up with kind of this grainy, mealy apples as opposed to those real crisp apples that you're looking for.
So if you'd like to pick your own apples at Bluemont Vineyard, go early in the season, often before the calendar marks the first day of fall.
Our biggest dates are in September, and yeah, just come early. It's a better time to pick when it's a lot easier when there's a lot of fruit on the trees. Given this year being the fruit load so light on the trees, we're expecting a really heavy crop next year. The trees didn't have to put a lot of energy into growing fruit this year, so they're going to have a lot stored up and ready to produce a great crop next year.
Apple picking may be done for the season, but the fun is far from over. Bluemont Vineyards hosts many family-friendly events going into the holidays, such as the hill climb at Dirt Farm Brewing, festive holiday markets, and a lighting of the vines. To learn more about the vineyard and all it has to offer, just look for this story on WJLA.com. Coming up, we take you to another popular fall attraction on our area. If you're looking for breathtaking views of fall foliage, we'll tell you where. Plus, what does a ghost bride and a mummified cat have to do with one of Virginia's oldest towns? The haunted history we're getting you a front row seat to, and a look at some of the extreme weather we've seen on Halloween years past.
This is a 7 News First Alert Weather special presentation.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us as we talk all things fall. One of the best sights of the season is fall foliage. Ever wonder why the leaves change color as the weather begins to cool? Meteorologist Teresa Carter from our sister station in Bristol, Tennessee, explains.
Most of the year, leaves are green because of the chlorophyll they use to absorb energy from sunlight during photosynthesis. As the season changes, temperatures drop and days get shorter. Trees get less direct sunlight and the chlorophyll in the leaves breaks down. The lack of chlorophyll reveals yellow and orange pigments that were already in the leaves, but masked during the warmer months. Darker red leaves are the result of a chemical change which produce new pigments that weren't part of the leaf in the growing season. How much and how fast leaves transform varies by location. The best colors are produced when the weather is dry, sunny, and cool. Places that are cloudy, damp, or warm won't see the same degree of changing color.
Thank you, Teresa. Vibrant fall foliage occurs in all corners of the country, and some of the best views known around the nation are not too far from the DMV. Meteorologist Doug Harlow from our sister station in Charleston, West Virginia, takes us to the Cranberry Wilderness.
At over 48,000 acres, this is the second largest United States Forest Service wilderness east of the Mississippi River. I left Charleston heading up I-79. This time I left the interstate at US 19 and headed south to the town of Cowan in Webster County. From there, I traveled along the beautiful Williams River Road along Williams River. There are numerous places to pull over where you can stop, get out of your vehicle, and take in this incredible scenery. Once I reached the Highland Scenic Highway, I headed south, stopping at the Big Spruce and Williams River overlooks, which offer expansive views. You really see the full scope of elevation on fall foliage from this vantage point. Looking down into the Williams River Valley, leaves are still mostly green down in that direction, but as you work your way up in elevation to the top of the Highland Scenic Highway, most of the leaves have changed color and in some instances have fallen off the trees already. I then worked south to the Cranberry Glades Botanical Area. The Cranberry Glades are made up of bog wetlands, and at an elevation of 3,400 feet, the environment is more like something you'd see in Canada than in the more southern climates. As a result, there are many rare plants here, and some beautiful fall foliage. A half-mile-long boardwalk provides an easy path to enjoy the scenery. One word of caution, the walk could be slippery at times. Heading west out of the Cranberry Glades, we headed toward Richwood.
DC also changes color during the season, but if you want to be immersed in that fall foliage, Massanutten Resort, just a 2.5-hour drive southwest of DC, offers a unique and spectacular experience. I traveled there and took a ride on the ski lift, which they operate to visitors during peak fall foliage.
Even today, we're getting some great peaks of color.
I mean, just being on this lift for only, 5 minutes or so, I mean, it's just a different kind of energy, especially coming from DC. I mean, you can let loose of the city feel, and it's so real to get out here in nature and see.
Re-energizes you. Our tickets are available online, and that honestly is the easiest way to ensure that you've been able to secure your ticket. We do suggest that everyone go online, check out everything that we have going on, and purchase those tickets early. Check in at the general store. That's right beside our ski parking area. Check in there. They'll give you your stamp. Let our lift operators know that you're ready to ride the chairlift. Once you get on the lift, really, it's just you sit down, you get ready, come on out. The chairlift ride is for those that are 36 inches and up, so that's something that we always try to remind everybody. They're going to enjoy riding up 2 different lifts, so that's the neat thing too, is that we have a double lift. So you're going to ride the first chair up to our mid-mountain area, and then there you'll transfer to our high-speed chair. So the first ride may take between 8 and 12 minutes, depending on traffic, and then the second ride probably going to be in that 4 to 6 minute, and that delivers you right to our peak. We're extremely lucky to be able to come out here and work in this environment, and that's why we want to share it with so many other people.
Yeah, that's the view there from the top of the lift. For more information on scenic chairlift rides at Massanutten Resort, check out our story on WJLA.com. If you are planning a trip to the Northeast and want to take in the iconic foliage from around New England, consider stopping by the Maine Maple Fall Festival for a sweet treat. Allison LaPierre from our sister station in Portland brings us the sights and sounds.
Maine maple treats with a touch of autumn. Yummy. The Maine Maple Producers Association hosted the 6th annual Maine Maple Falls Fest.
It allows people who wouldn't normally get a chance to see a sugar house, who maybe are visiting from away, to come see our maple operations.
Alan Green owns Green Maple Farm in Sebago. He says the Fall Festival gives him and other maple producers the chance to connect with New Englanders and educate the community about the business.
They have a lot more opportunity to ask questions and just be able to enjoy Sugar House without us running around trying to make syrup while they're visiting.
The Fall Fest focuses on autumn foliage and maple-themed treats. More than a dozen sugar houses across the state participated this year, including Parsons Dairy Farm.
We're open to the public for basically a Maple Sunday.
As part of the festival, Parsons Farm hosted antique tractor plow days and a craft market.
Walk back and forth from the vendors and all the old timers on their tractors, and it's a blast. You get to learn a lot.
And of course, there was all types of different maple treats for all ages, including this delicious maple fried dough.
It gives everybody an opportunity to see something that a lot of folks have never seen.
Event organizers also host Maine Maple Sunday at the height of maple season on the 4th Sunday in March.
Next, fall is also the time of the year for some spooky weather. I take a look at some of the most extreme Halloween weather we've seen and some fun activities in our area.
This is a 7 News First Alert Weather special presentation.
Thanks again for staying with us. Cooler weather arrives in time for spooky season. Halloween here in the DMV has featured all types of weather. Our warmest on record was back in 1950 with a temperature of 85 degrees. Now the coldest on record goes back to 1917 with a temperature of 26 degrees. The most rainfall on Halloween, that occurred in 1895 with over an inch of rain. And yes, it has snowed on Halloween. In 1925, there was a dusting of snowfall. One of the most popular spots for a ghost tour is Old Town Alexandria. 7 News' Megan Clark visited the famous cobblestone streets to learn the history you may not know right under your nose.
There's nothing I love more than a haunted hotel. They are the best.
Alexandria Colonial Tours' Jimmy Merritt doesn't worry about getting his steps in.
We tell you all of the haunted hot spots. Then at the end of the tour, we abandon you in a graveyard. But don't worry, a lot of people make it back alive. We're doing pretty well. We're pushing 70% survival rate so far.
Thousands of ghost hunters line up each year seeking thrills.
This is Gatsby's Tavern. It was a bar, it was a hotel, it was a restaurant, it was a ballroom.
So I asked Jimmy to reveal some of Old Town's dark and hidden histories for 7 News.
We see so many people walk into this store, but they don't always know kind of both how old the building is and the haunted history behind it.
A soon-to-be bride burned to death when her oil lamp catches her robes on fire.
And ever since then, she has continued to haunt and lurk about the building. So this is the Carlisle House, one of the oldest buildings in Alexandria.
A mummified cat found during renovations in the 70s.
And what makes that so macabre is it was clearly put there on purpose.
A Scottish tradition to keep ghosts away, which worked to a fault.
Although the house itself is safe, and a sad irony, the front lawn ends up being haunted instead, because throughout history we have several bizarre deaths all connected throughout history right on the front lawn.
Now a hotspot for orb sightings.
Glowing balls that show up on film that many people, myself included, believe to be spirits kind of making themselves known.
This is a graveyard here?
This is the graveyard, old Presbyterian meeting house.
Our final stop, a final resting place.
And then here we have the tomb of the unknown soldier of the Revolutionary War. When they're doing some renovation work, digging a new foundation, they find his body in an old munitions box.
But it's not he who haunts this graveyard, Jimmy says, but the spirit of Mary Powell, a schoolgirl turned historian who spent her life advocating for the tomb to be dedicated.
Her death has not stopped her from still paying visit to her favorite soldier, because at night people do see the spirit of Mary Powell, both with the naked eye and captured on film, moving about nearby the tomb, still maintaining her vigil over her favorite soldier, even in death.
As fun and fearsome as these tales are,
why is that so important to remember our history and to keep some of these stories alive?
History is more relatable than I think people know. And I think part of what we do with we're going to scare you. We're going to tell you some creepy ghost stories, but I think you'll also walk away just with a better understanding of what it was like to be a person in the 17 and 1800s.
Are you scared yet? What better way to spend Halloween night than in one of the most historic neighborhoods of our area? Usually visitors come to see Old Town Alexandria's century-old homes, cobblestone streets, and the waterfront. But during Halloween, it's the decorations and the trick-or-treating that draw in the crowds. 7 News' Jade Lawson takes us along.
Guys, I am on the infamous Lee Street this year, where hundreds have taken the streets to celebrate Halloween. They're going trick-or-treating. They started earlier this evening, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock, and they've been going nonstop. If you look down the street, this year was race car themed. You look up, you've got the flags going, you've got Ferrari teams, you've got so many people participating. I saw Lightning McQueen a little bit earlier. They're just out here. They're having a really great time. And I tell you, you know, they say that they do this. They started in 2023. They said that they're going to keep this thing going. But for now, Lee Street is having a blast.
When we return, a look at views of painted fall landscapes from around the country.
This is a 7 News First Alert Weather special presentation.
As we wrap up, it's never too early to begin planning a fall getaway. Whether that's Western Maryland, West Virginia, or in the Shenandoah Valley, online travel blogs recommend booking your place during the summer while the availability remains high, and some national and state parks require passes for entry, many of which can also be booked online as well. For more information on planning a fall getaway, head over to our website, WJLA.com, to get started. And as always, stay ahead of the weather during the fall and the entire year with the First Alert Weather Team. We're always on your side and ready to bring you weather information first. Check out our daily weather blogs online at WJLA.com or by downloading the free 7 News First Alert mobile app. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. We leave you with fall foliage views from around the country, provided by our amazing team of drone pilots from our parent company, Sinclair Broadcast Group. We'll see you next time.